It's finally time. Let the Eurovision
Podcast
contest begin.
Hello and welcome to the very first Eurovision Song Contest podcast, where I'm going to tell everything about the Eurovision Song Contest, which is our beloved song contest in the whole world. So, we are living in very hard times right now, and I think everyone knows about that the song contest this year was cancelled, and I thought, well, there's so much to talk about this, so why not start a podcast? So I kind of wanted to have like this experiment where I'm going to tell everything about the situation, and there's so much stuff to talk, so I think it's the best thing to start a podcast, because then you can speak about everything, and I think there's also a lot of things to speak about. So, the year 2020 is, I think, a very dark year for all song contest fans. Not just for song contest fans, I think also for internationally everyone in this whole world, because of, we all know about this COVID-19 pandemic, and about this virus which is spreading like bushfire everywhere on each continent, in each city, in each country. There are cases. So, of course, for this condition, during this situation, I think everyone knows that there's not some such thing like a celebration in dance arenas, and the cancellation was, of course, everyone was like expecting it, but still it came like a hit in your face, because it's the first time since the very first Eurovision Song Contest in the year 1956 where we don't have a contest. And I think everyone's reaction was like, oh well, yeah, shit, fuck, yeah, let's talk about that. So I think the cancellation of the contest is, I think, the best thing with what can be done by the EBU. Of course, there are many fans who are like sad about the decision, but let's be honest, this is like the most correct thing what could have been done, right? So, of course, everyone is like sad about this, but let's be honest, we had to cancel it, because we cannot celebrate with fans around the world in very crowded places. It's not gonna happen. Let's be honest. So the cancellation came like, when was it? In March, I think. So we already knew each song, so it's very bad for the songwriters, because they anticipatedly waited for this contest, and there were maybe like very they couldn't wait to let the song hear whole Europe, and also for the singers and for the bands, which is very bad for them, because they won their national final, and they eagerly waited to sing in front of whole Europe and even beyond that, and then they had to hear the sad news about the cancellation. I can imagine how bad was it for them, but the reaction was, like I thought, very positive, because many singers said that it was like it's a decision which we can all accept. without a doubt, the cancellation is something what had to be done, and yeah. So I know that many like are sad because they could not sing in front of whole Europe, but I think everyone accepted the decision. So this whole pandemic situation started like this year, and we already had like a national final season. So it's not like a wasted year because we have all songs of this year. All these things what's happening right now with the coronavirus, it happened like after all the songs were released. So it's kind of like it's not wasted because okay, we could not see each of the songs in a big arena, but we still have like the songs. We can listen to them. We can listen to the songs on Spotify. We can watch the videos on YouTube. So it's not like wasted. We are not canceling before this whole thing, but we are canceling like after the national final season. So we still have all 40. How many are there? 42 songs, right? So yeah. But let's be honest, all these songs are not like good, right? I mean, there are some nice songs, of course, but listening to all again, I was like, well, it's bad to say, but it's good that this whole Corona thing happened this year because, well, to lose all the songs is not like so bad. Like in years where we had like very good songs in the year 2016, for example, or 2014, which was like one of my favorite contests of all time. So we kind of like, well, it's okay that this happened this year. So we will, well, let's be honest, it's not very good year this year with all the songs. I was listening to all the songs again and in the recap, and I have to say, well, there are some good, but most of the songs are like, no, sorry. There are many years which are like far better, but there are also years where it was like worse. So I would say this year 2020 is like a song which is like in the middle, but a little bit less. So if I gave it like a grade, it would be like a C minus. Like A is the best, F is the worst, C minus I think it's okay. So speaking of the songs, we had this year also many countries which were sending really bad songs in last years, but this year they had like really good songs, and I have guessed that maybe this year could have been a year where a country would won for the very first time. I think it was like I had this in my feelings. So for example, we all know that the bookmakers did also their chart like they do every year, and we saw like who is the favorite. We know from fans, from tops, top 10, top 5, my personal top 10, that most of them are like in the same top. So we can say that, for example, a favorite for winning would be Lithuania, which is the only Baltic country which never won before. So if I would appreciate a Baltic win, it would be like Lithuania, because Estonia won in 2001, Latvia won in 2002. So I guess it's Lithuania's turn to have the contest in their country. Vilnius is a very beautiful city. It would be also pushing the reaction of the Lithuanian public, which is like, I think, a little bit not so hyped about the contest. Of course, they were not very successful in the last years, except of like many older songs in the 2010s. They constantly never went to the final, for example, except of maybe Donny Montel, and who was in the final. I don't remember. 2011 was like a French song which was which was in the final. Yeah, so if I would like a Baltic win, then it is of course Lithuania, and it's very bad for the Roop, which had like a very experimental song, which was very hyped in the fandom bubble. So it's kind of sad for them, and I don't know if they will they have like a safe spot in the next year. I wish, but I probably they will continue with their new selection method, which is I don't remember the name, Pabanduom Ishnauiom or something like this, which was very good this year. Like the quality of that was amazing, and they really did a good thing about this, because Lithuania's national final, which was like Eurovision Skoatanka or something, it is a mess. Let's be honest, it's a really big mess. There are like semifinals from October until March. They're singing the songs like 3-4 times in a row, and it's not good. I mean, also the quality of the songs was never like really good. It was like the country which from all the Baltic countries, like my favorite is Estonia, and also since Aminata it's also Latvia, and Lithuania was like I never watched their shows. Maybe it's because like it's in Saturday where there's like 5 other better shows on the same evening. So, but this year they managed to change everything, which is like very nice from the Lithuanian broadcaster, and I think this will also be the reason why the next contest is the next national final show will continue, and they don't want to cancel this successful show. I guess maybe it's also they had like good ratings, and that's why they want to keep it. Speaking of returning artists, well, many of the broadcasters, they already said that okay, we will select our artists again for the next year, especially like internal selected artists. So we will see next year Victoria from Bulgaria. We will see Destiny, thank God, for Malta. We will see Goa, Ukraine. We will see who else? There's the Django McCroy from the Netherlands, the host country. So most of the songs of the singers from this year we will also see next year, but there are also many songs, many singers which we probably won't hear again next year, especially like from all the national final winners. Probably we won't see Ulrike from Norway, or Ben and Tan from Denmark, or the Mamas from Sweden, because they want to keep their successful national final shows. So selecting them internally would also mean that maybe they should cancel also their national final, and for example for Sweden it's a no-go. I mean, Melodifestivalen is watched by more people than the actual show. I mean, imagine that. Like the show for a contest which is held on whole Europe is like the national final show is watched by more people than the actual contest itself. I mean, how strange is that? And I think the Swedish broadcaster is saying that of course we don't want to cancel this successful show, because why we should cancel a show which is very successful and has huge ratings? No, of course, and sad for the Mamas, of course, but I don't know if they get like a wild card to participate nevertheless, but probably not. Maybe I think there's like a rule where they say like you cannot participate at Melodifestivalen 3 times in a row. You have to wait like 1 year, and the Mamas already participated last year. Okay, they were not like the main act, they were like the backing singers for John Lundvik, but still maybe they say, okay, you were 2 times in a row in at Eurovision, so maybe you should wait for 1 year and maybe come back in 2022 if you like. So, like I think we will see new singers, of course, new songs for 2022 from mostly 2021 for most of the national final singers, festivals, winners. Yeah, you know what I mean. And speaking of the national final season, of course, thank God we had one this year. The Corona thing happened all after this, so we had like the whole season to watch, which is like quite nice. Even though if we don't have the extra contest, we still have the national final of each country. There were like, it started again with Festival Kungus for Albania, which was also like the last year's was very nice. Like Albania, they somehow managed to make a turn from the last years. Of course, many of the songs are dated. Of course, they're like either pop divas singing with high voices or rock songs with electric guitar, but it's the culture of Albania. I think it's their music culture. They like to listen to women screaming or to men with raspy rock voices. So that's okay. I mean, I still also I like to listen to those kind of songs too. So, but this year they had like quite nice diversity in the genres. For example, there were like funky songs, there were like pop bangers, and yeah. So in the end, it was again like a diva with a good high screaming voice who won, but still we had like a lot of songs which we can still appreciate, even though if they're not at the contest. And for example, my favorite of Festival Kungus this year was Elvana Jata with Metana, which is like a very nice song. It's like a pop banger, and I still listen to the song sometimes. So it's okay that she didn't win, because then we could not hear her again. But I hope if all this Corona thing will vanish, we will still hear Elvana Jata for maybe next Festival Kungus, because she's a superstar. Her songs have like 100 and millions, 50 million streams on YouTube, which is like very big for an Albanian artist. So I hope that she can come back again, and we will see her maybe in 2021. Who knows? So yeah, there are also like other national finals, but it was like nothing special. I mean, Melody Festival was like a little bit of a hang down. How do you say? Like, you expected more of that. There were like one song which I really liked, which was from Daughter, Bulletproof, and I kind of hoped that she will win, but at the end she came second, which is also nice. And yeah, of course the Mamas won, which was also like a little bit expected, but I wish that Daughter would win, but in the end she achieved a very good second place, which is also very nice. But all the other songs are like, it's like we already knew the sound. It's this typical Swedish pop modern sound. Well, it's successful. Let's be honest. Each year they achieve like top 10 results. They're almost every year in the finals. So of course Sweden is like the number one prime student in our class, which we had always this one guy or girl who always had like good marks. This is Sweden for me. But let's be honest, it's also a very good production, and we know Swedish songwriters are like one of the best songwriters in the whole world. And okay, that we know that they always are high in the charts, but a little bit more of diversity. I wish they could show us, but I mean, come on, stick with something which is successful. I think it's a good formula, right? They already won like how many times? 5 times, 6 times. So it's a winning formula, I guess. So speaking of other things than the national finals, let's speak about the hosts. We already knew about the hosts in during the allocation draw when they decided where the singers will sing in the semifinals, and we got introduced to them, and they kind of seemed like very nice, funny hosts. Especially Chantal Jansen, I was like a little bit surprised because I thought she was like a serious TV presenter, which is like doing her serious job. But no, she was very funny, and I thought, well, she's a bombshell. She likes to make fun. She likes to flirt with others, and I think this was a very nice host. About Jan Smith, I already knew about him like before a little bit. He's kind of famous in Germany. Well, I have to say I'm from Germany, so he's in a Schlager band here, and I kind of know a little bit of him before. And he seems like a very quirky guy and very funny, and I was expecting him to be a little bit more like of a shy person. I don't know why, but at the end he was like very funny and very quirky, and always like saying something, like a comment about everything. So it's okay. It was like a nice, how do you say, like a nice draw from them. And also the third host, which is Celia Rombley. Of course, I knew about her 2007 song, and also she participated in 1998, I think, but I don't remember this one. But in 2007 I remember her with On Top of the World, and I really like her speaking voice. I mean, she has a very like dark voice, a very deep dark, and also I think her accent is maybe the most you can hear most from all those three hosts. You can hear her accent the most, and this is kind of for me like funny, because if you hear someone speaking with a Dutch accent, it always sounds cute to me. I don't know, because we know that Dutch people speak very good English, but they speak English with a cute accent, which is also quite nice to hear. So I was kind of hoping that Chantal and Jan would be like the main host, and Itzile the green room host. And this is also what I was thinking about, what they had planned to do. But maybe it would like change, because many people think about Itzile as a very charming woman, and maybe she could steal like Chantal's spot and be the main host. Or maybe we have like Jan Smith as a green room host. Could also happen. I don't know. But I think they will keep the Dutch broadcaster will keep with Chantal and Jan as the main host and Itzile as the green room host, because maybe it was like already signed that they want to do it like this. The second time we could hear all those three hosts was actually last week during the the extra show, which was supposed to be like the official extra show for the actual contest, Europe Shine a Light. Oh yeah, let's talk about this. So Europe Shine a Light, when I heard about the news that they want to do like this kind of show, which is not like the official contest, but officially from the broadcaster, and I heard about the concept of it, I was like, really? Do you really want to do that? I mean, it's not the best thing. Of course, we cannot could not have like a real contest, normal contest like we used to have, but still there's like a song which is showing only the songs in a small snippet and without any competition aspect. This was like, when I heard about the news, was like, oh, okay, why are you doing this? And then I was also thinking, could if we had like a show where we had like a competition aspect. And I was thinking about, okay, so during the national final season, we already had experience that they had like, for example, Denmark's national final was held without a audience, but still they managed to do this show. So I was thinking, why was EBU not considering this idea of having the show but without an audience? And then I was thinking, okay, there's also like the problem of having travel restrictions, so probably it would be hard for a lot of delegations to come up with all this stuff to Rotterdam, or to fly to Rotterdam or Amsterdam, which is maybe for most of the countries a little bit difficult because, well, the borders are closed still, and we could not maybe manage that. When I heard about this cancellation, I was already, they didn't tell us about this Europe Shine Light thing immediately after that, but they already came up with the news, okay, Eurovision 2020 is cancelled. So of course there are many reactions in the Eurovision bubble. Why are they cancelling it? Why could not they have like an alternative? And I was thinking, okay, what could have been the alternative? So there's, for example, this kind of like having everything, to keep everything as it is, but only like without the audience in the arena. And I know it's not like very good to host a show without having the fans and without all the flags in the audience. I know it's not the best thing, but you know, it's still something. We could have like a winner this year. It's still not the same as the previous year where we had like the fans are important for this contest. Without the fans, we could not have any ESC right now, or the show itself. So maybe because of this travel restrictions, we could not have this option. Many of the delegations could not come to Amsterdam, they could not leave the country, and so it's not possible to have the contest in Rotterdam this year. I kinda have to accept this. So what else option could have been done? So maybe we could have like had a satellite view of the show, of the stagings in their home country or in the studio in their home country, and then transmitted via satellite and showing then everything on itself, and you know, we could have still have the hosts in the arena and talking about the show and everything, but only without the people on stage, but only via satellite. And when I was thinking about this idea, I was like, okay, maybe there are like advantages for some richer countries. For example, the Swedish broadcaster could have come up with a lot of special effects with a big arena, with good cameras, everything. So they are kind of like an advantage compared to, for example, for Moldova, for example, if they show it in Chisinau in a bad studio with bad cameras, without HD or anything. Of course, many people would not vote for them because they're not on the same level. I want to say, richer countries with a higher budget have, of course, more things to come up with. They could use pyrotechnics, they could use fire, they could use dancers, they could use a lot of special gimmicks, everything. and countries like Albania or Lithuania or Moldova, they could not come up with the same amount of things for that. So this would be unfair for those small countries with not so high budget. So this option kind of also fell down. So then I was thinking what other option could have been done. Maybe just having the music videos shown. And I think this is like the best option. I don't have anything against this. Like, we still can have those three songs. We could still have the logo, the open up theme, the design of everything. But when they're introduced to the songs, we can still have like three shows, like the first semi-final, the second semi-final, and the third semi-final. The third semi-final, the big final. Yeah, and I was thinking, could this have been done? And I think it could have been done. There's nothing against this, right? We have like those three shows hosts which are telling about the show, about how to vote. We could have maybe an online vote, maybe. No, it would be crashed down, but still maybe at least try it. We could have had the juries, because I know they don't have to come to Rotterdam to make the decision. They could stay at home and watch the show, and maybe they could still be in one room and talk to each other. I don't know how it's done for the juries with a little bit of distancing with each other. So the juries could vote. The audience could vote at home, of course, and we already have like all the national final music videos. Okay, most of them have like a produced music video, others don't have. So okay, some will only see like a live performance, some will see a music video, but we didn't know about this corona thing when they already did this. So of course maybe it's a advantage if you have like a very well produced music video rather than a national final performance, but this is what it's done. They could have come with a music video, the broadcaster. Why Damir Kedjo from Croatia didn't do a music video? It's up to him. It was his fault. If he doesn't have a music video for a song, well, you have to show his Dora performance. So they could have shown each music video, and at the end they still could have voted for each of the songs. And this is like, well, it's not like a full show, normal show, but it's still something which we could have had this year. And I was thinking about why did EBU not consider this option, showing the music videos? Is there anything against that? And I don't know why they had to do this cancellation. Of course, cancellation is the most correct thing what could have been done, but maybe this decision came a little bit too early. Maybe they could have talked about other options which could have been done, but well, now we don't have any of the songs. And there was also like a question about could all the countries use this year's song for next year too, and EBU immediately said no, it's not possible. And this is also like was very negative in this Eurovision bubble. Why are EBU sticking to this? Of course, it's written in the rules. You cannot have songs which are before the September thing, but we already know how many times EBU didn't listen to its own rules. I mean, why is Azerbaijan taking part, even though if they're beyond the 14 degrees line of this? And why is Australia taking part, even though if they're not really allowed to, because they're not part of the EBU? Only countries who are in the EBU could could enter the contest, and Australia isn't. Maybe they are an associated member, yeah, of course, but even, I don't know, Tajikistan is an associated member, so if Australia can participate, then Canada can participate, Greenland can participate, etc., etc. Yeah, so, but in the end, it was like a letdown when I heard about the news about, at least they had like an alternative contest, but which is not really a contest, it was like only a show. And I watched the show, and I came up with very low expectations, but I was a little bit surprised, and I really liked the show. I know we couldn't hear everything, like the whole songs, we could only hear snippets of 30 seconds, but still we got the chance to meet all the singers, to hear at least their songs at the television screens. We could have seen how the songs could have been done. We saw like Montaigne's staging already, like the final staging, and it was like a very sad thing, because they also like did covers, and they were like doing like all this together, and it was very nice to see it. And also like they had like a lot of guest artists, which were like very okay. They're very huge. They had Johnny Logan, for example, Björn from ABBA, and a lot of other famous Eurovision artists. You could have seen their messages and everything, which is also quite nice from the Dutch broadcaster to do. So even though if I came up with very low expectation, I was kindly positively surprised, and I watched the show with a smiling eye, and also with a sad eye. Let's say it like this. Yeah, so this was like the very first episode of this Eurovision podcast, which was my debut, and I don't know how it will be in the future. Maybe I was thinking about maybe having like a guest who I'm talking to. It's kind of nice to have someone to talk to. So let's see how it develops, and stay tuned, and maybe we'll see or hear each other for the next time. Bye.